Popular Taiwanese actor Darren Wang has been at the center of a huge controversy lately, and as more and more shocking details are emerging, things are only getting worse for him, to the point that he risks spending a long time in prison. Born as Wang Talu in 1991 in Taipei, Taiwan, Darren has been under the spotlight since his teenage years, after he made his acting debut in the series Mysterious Incredible Terminator in 2008. He then spent several years taking on supporting roles in dramas until his breakthrough in 2015, when he starred in a leading role in the hit movie Our Times. This role skyrocketed his popularity and led him to win several awards, including the Prize for Rising Star at the 2016 APAN Awards. By this point, he was already one of the most famous actors in Taiwan, and he also became a fashion icon, so much so that fashion magazine GQ named him Man of the Year in 2015. However, Darren soon had a career setback when he accused his company of money mismanagement. The dispute went to court, and in the end, the lawsuit was settled, with Darren terminating his contract with the agency. Nevertheless, he continued his successful career by appearing in several other dramas and movies, most notably the Taiwanese film Fall in Love at First Kiss in 2019 and the Chinese series The Wolf in 2020. While his career was blooming, his love life also came under the spotlight. Between May 2021 and November 2023, he was in a relationship with Malaysian singer and actress Joey Chua, while in January 2024, Darren made headlines when he announced that he was dating TV personality Mu Xuan. By 2025, Darren's popularity was through the roof, and he was already scheduled to appear in various other dramas and movies, but everything came crashing down very quickly. In February, Taiwanese authorities started questioning Darren after they found out that he was involved in an illegal scheme to help men evade mandatory military service, and he was brought in for questioning by the police along with several other individuals. In Taiwan, every man over the age of 18 is required to serve in the military before their 36th birthday. The length of the mandatory military service was previously 4 months, but in 2022, the Taiwanese government extended it to 1 year for conscripts who start their service in 2024 or later. People can delay the start of their service if they pursue higher education, or they can get exemptions for medical reasons, but anyone who's found guilty of evading conscription might face up to 5 years in prison. At 33 years old, Darren was almost running out of time to begin his military service, and he couldn't delay it any longer, so he was scheduled to enlist on March 13th. However, on February 18th, Taiwanese police arrested Darren at his home under the suspicion that he paid over $30,000 to obtain a forged medical document alleging a fake heart condition in order to avoid being enlisted in the military. According to the police investigation, Darren was among several conscripts who were supposed to begin their military service and had no medical issues, but were suddenly diagnosed with health problems that affected their eligibility to serve in the military. Taiwanese authorities noticed the irregularities and launched an investigation on the matter after receiving reports from whistleblowers and local government officials about attempts to evade conscription through illegal means. The police ultimately arrested the mastermind behind the illegal scheme, an individual surnamed Chang, in January 2025, along with 2 other officials. The 3 men have no medical background, and they're accused of forging medical documents to help people avoid conscription, possibly with the help of professional doctors. The news of Darren's involvement in this case made headlines throughout East Asia and even became the top trending topic on the Chinese social media site Weibo. However, rumors about Darren attempting to evade enlistment were already circulating back in 2015 when he was accused of using his position as a university student to delay the start of his military service despite the fact that he rarely attended lessons. After these rumors came out, he reassured reporters that he wanted to serve in the military, stating, "I'm still so young, there's no need to evade military service. When the time comes, I'll serve in the military." Now that he was formally accused of attempting to evade military service, netizens were shocked, and while Darren was released on bail the same day he was arrested, this was only the start of his legal problems. On March 4th, Taiwanese media outlets reported that Darren's controversy over his attempt to evade military service had escalated into something even more serious. While investigating Darren's case, Taiwanese police discovered messages on his phone that showed him him bragging about orchestrating an attack on a private hire driver. The incident dates back to April 2024 when Darren reportedly requested a ride on Uber while in Taipei. The Uber driver arrived to pick him up in a Tesla, a type of car that Darren apparently disliked. This already led to a verbal altercation between him and the driver, which got more heated when Darren accused the driver of taking a longer route. After arriving at his destination, Darren allegedly realized that he had left his car keys in the Tesla and he had trouble retrieving them as he did not know how to open the car's door. Now, even more angered, he reportedly started to hit the window of the vehicle, resulting in another altercation with the driver. At the end of the quarrel, Darren apparently slammed the door of the car and made a rude gesture to the driver. After the scandal exploded, footage of the incident involving Darren and the Uber driver surfaced online. The dash camera footage shows him stepping out of the vehicle while texting someone on his phone. He then walked in front of the car and proceeded to make rude gestures to the driver before walking away. After this incident, Darren was fuming, as he was displeased with the quality of the car and the service he received, which reportedly didn't meet his expectations. He recorded the vehicle's license plate number, and then he vented his frustration with a wealthy friend of his named Yu Xiangmin, telling him that he was tormented by the driver and suggesting taking revenge on him. Xiangmin then allegedly offered to help track down the vehicle and driver and contacted some individuals affiliated with local gangs, instructing them to teach the driver a lesson. According to the police report, the individuals hired by Xiangmin were able to locate the driver in Taipei a week after Darren's Uber ride on April 25th. The gangster blocked the vehicle's way, ambushing the driver and then relentlessly beating him, leaving him hospitalized. These people also took photos and videos of their attack and the injured driver and reported their success to Darren, who then boasted about it to his friends. The gangsters also reportedly carried out the same kind of attack on another individual, the person who handled Darren's Uber reservation. As a result of these incidents, both the driver and the other individual sustained several injuries. The driver filed a police report about the incident, but he had no idea who was behind the attack, and he didn't initially connect what happened to his previous quarrel with Darren, which was seemingly insignificant. Taiwanese police also couldn't find any evidence of who was behind the attack, and the case remained unresolved for months. After authorities confiscated Darren's phone to investigate his attempted military desertion, they shockingly discovered a series of incriminating messages, including photos and videos of the attack, filmed by the gangsters themselves. With this new evidence in hand, the police launched a new investigation, accusing Darren of attempting to take the life of the driver and the person who handled the Uber reservation. Darren and his friend Xiangmin, who was allegedly among the assailants, were then arrested on March 4th under the suspicion of incitement to commit bodily harm. Meanwhile, Darren is also accused of causing a public official to make a false entry in an official document for his attempt to evade his military service. Based on the risk that they could try to flee or destroy evidence, the prosecutors requested court permission to detain both Darren and Xiangmin while the investigation takes place. Arrest warrants were also issued for several other individuals who carried out the attacks, but they still remain at large. However, the court ruled that there was no risk of Darren and his accomplice fleeing, and they argued that they had no access to the evidence they could destroy, so both of them were then released one day after their arrest on a bail of over $150,000. As Darren was leaving the police station, a large group of reporters surrounded him, but he refused to answer any question, and he only repeatedly said, "Thank you." Taiwanese media outlets also reached out to Darren's father, who's reportedly a wealthy antiques collector, and he decided to release a statement on his son's case, saying, "As a father, I am in pain seeing my child in such a situation. Regardless of what the outcome might be, he has to be accountable for his actions." Meanwhile, Darren's agency responded to reporters by only stating, "We're trying to get an understanding of the matter at the moment. Thank you." Netizens were already shocked by the news of Darren's attempt to avoid enlistment, but no one expected such a disturbing turn of events. The entire world of entertainment in East Asia was shaken by this new scandal, which caused a wave of public outrage. Many questioned how someone could be so angered to send men to beat up a driver over such a small matter as a dissatisfactory Uber ride. Others criticized Darren's disregard for human life and his arrogance, and a netizen even stated he'd rather sit behind bars than serve in the military. Darren's behavior after leaving the police station on March 5th also caught the attention of netizens, as he seemed to be mocking reporters, smiling and waving at cameras. His defiant attitude only heightened public outrage towards him, and many criticized his apparent lack of remorse for his actions. Netizens also began to look back at Darren's career, unearthing various instances of his problematic behavior that should have raised red flags a long time ago. In 2015, he was spotted kissing our Time director Frankie Chen at a party right in front of her husband, sparking rumors of an extramarital affair. Not long afterwards, Darren found himself involved in another scandal when uncensored explicit photos of him surfaced online. A few years later, when the Burning Sun scandal hit the Korean entertainment world, Darren was also dragged into the controversy because of his close relationship with many of the celebrities involved in the scandal. However, no evidence linking Darren to the criminal activities of his friends ever came out. Nevertheless, many found his connections to be problematic, and now netizens have another confirmation of this after the identity of his accomplice was revealed. Netizens have found that Xiang Min is the son of one of Taiwan's wealthiest car dealership owners, and he's already known on Chinese social media for his extravagant spending habits. He has often boasted his wealth with lavish vacations and luxury items, and he has connections with several celebrities in Taiwan. Meanwhile, Darren's position is only getting worse, as now he's being investigated not only for attempting to take the life of 2 people and for evading enlistment, but also for illegal collection of personal data, spreading false information, and for his alleged involvement in an illegal loan sharking operation that used violence to collect debts. Now, there's currently no news on the fate of the various projects Darren was supposed to star in, but with how serious this scandal is, his career might be over for good. Even worse for him, the severity of the accusations might mean that if he's found guilty, he's going to be in prison for a long time.